On this channel, I often talk about affordable equipment, and this is where the price and performance of a piece of equipment is really good. But a lot of people have been asking me straight up for the cheapest equipment possible, so I went onto Amazon.com and found the cheapest audio interface I could. It sells for $29.99 and it's the Behringer U-Phoria UM2 audio interface. In this video, I'm going to be comparing it to my professional Audient interface, which is affordable, but still costs an awful lot more than this. So there's going to be loads of audio examples, and if you stick around to the end, I'm going to be giving this away to someone who needs it. So watch to the end and you'll find out how to enter a giveaway to win this one for free. As usual with cheap gear, the box makes all sorts of crazy claims about its performance, including low latency, audiophile quality, and a state-of-the-art microphone preamp which is comparable to standalone boutique preamps. So we're going to be taking a look at that. This is the interface here. So starting with the front, we have our inputs here. So we have an XLR and a line input, a mic and line 1, instrument 2. We have direct monitor button on the front, and if it didn't have that, this would be completely useless. I'll explain why in just a minute. I'm just going to cut in here for a minute because I forgot to mention the direct monitoring later in the video. Basically, on Windows at least, you need drivers to use this. I downloaded ASIO for All, which is free, and no matter what I did, I couldn't get the buffer size even close to small enough to hear my effects in real time, so I had to bypass the computer and use the direct monitoring switch here. So without this, that interface is completely useless, but it does work with a direct monitoring switch there. Right, back to the video. And then we have the headphone output. There is like a film that you can peel off, but I'm just keeping that on there because I'm giving this one away. Moving to the top, we have these 3 dials. So we have the input 1 gain, instrument gain, and then the output for the headphone jack. The microphone preamp here is not the preamp that's sort of comparable to boutique preamps like they say it is. It is noisy, it is not super high quality. You really cannot use all of the gain here because there's an awful lot of hiss and noise. The second input, this instrument 1 here, is all right, but it's just pretty average to be honest, and again, quite a bit of background noise. The output, however, is fantastic. So this headphone output, I've been testing with my Beyerdynamic 1990 Pros and the 770 Pros, which are both 250 ohm headphones. So that's quite a lot of power needed to drive those headphones, and this has had absolutely all the power. I haven't needed to max it out or anything like that, which I sometimes do with other interfaces. If you have to turn this all the way up to the top, it will get a little bit hissy and a little bit noisy, but I never need to turn it up that loud anyway. Then moving over to the back, we have 2 outputs here to power studio monitors if you have them. I don't think this is really aimed at people who are powering studio monitors just due to the price. I think this is more for headphone users. It has the USB, which is going to send all the data to and from the computer, but it's also going to provide phantom power for the microphone should you need it. And that phantom power is triggered by this on and off switch just here. I'm not, blown away by the build quality of it. It's fairly minimalistic, which is nice. It's not too tacky, but all of this stuff here is wobbly. It's all plastic, but that's enough talking. So let's get straight into the audio demos. And I'm going to be using my DT 1990 Pros. So this is pretty much the best headphones I can get my hands on. Make sure you're listening in headphones or studio monitors so you can really hear the details really closely. The audio examples are an electric guitar and an acoustic guitar. The electric guitar was just direct into the interface, and the acoustic guitar was using an XLR and a condenser microphone with the phantom power turned on. Each of the examples I have compare to the Audient, which is my other sort of high quality interface. Let's go. Nice clean signal compared to the Behringer. And immediately you can hear that there's less detail, but there's also some hiss in the background. So now I'm going to switch between the 2 and you can hear the difference. And just at the end here I had a little bit of a strum. This is what I meant when I said the instrument input was okay, but it's nothing special. The high end seems slightly suppressed, but also a little bit quacky, which is a little bit strange, but it's completely usable. So the next thing I tried was sort of a really dynamic test with the microphone. This was using the condenser microphone, just seeing if I could play something really delicately and also really loud strumming as well, and to see how the preamp would react to that change in dynamics. So the Audient, I was playing really quietly as I possibly can fingerpick, and you've still got a lot of detail there. And then when I transition into the louder section, I even actually clipped the preamp here, but you don't hear any bad or audible distortion. Now onto the Behringer one. This first time I had the gain staging all wrong, and you'll hear what happens. I had a huge amount of distortion even though I didn't hit 0. So just regular quiet playing. And this was really interesting because I've never experienced this with a preamp before. We didn't even hit 0 and we were clipping, and there was no limiter, there was no compressor on the chain. Once it got to about -3 dB, it just completely clips it. And it sounds really, really bad, but that's just a gain staging problem. You should be able to go higher than -3, but I gave it the benefit of the doubt, turned the gain down a little bit. So you've got some detail there at the start. There is more background noise compared to the Audient. And that was a little bit cleaner, but there's still a lot of distortion on those big strums. You can see with the Audient, there's big spiky transients and it dips back down again, whereas this is kind of just squashed. It's not really reacting very well. So if I wanted to record the really loud stuff, I'd have to turn the gain down even more. But if I turn the gain down that much, this sort of really quiet finger picking would have been completely impossible to raise the gain on without the noise floor of the room just pulling all the way through it. What I've learned from those two examples is that if you use a more high-end preamp or interface, you can kind of get away without gain staging perfectly. You know, you can record things really quiet, you can record them a bit too hot, it's quite forgiving. But if you're using this interface here, you don't have that luxury. You have to be right on top of the gain staging all the time. The next example is just some finger picking, and I've got the gain kind of in the middle, so the gain staging makes sense this time. It's not too quiet, not too loud. Here's the Audient, and really pay attention to the noise floor and the hiss. Just at the end here, you can hear that the noise just keeps going, that hiss. Whereas on the Audient, it's rather clean. But if I were to add effects to this, such as reverb and compression, listen to how the Audient takes this compression and reverb and really uses it to enhance the sound. You know, the reverb is really clean, the compression's leveling stuff out, whereas with the Behringer, it just sounds really noisy. You know, which is again slightly disappointing. It's completely usable, but it's not great, and that's kind of the point I wanted to make here. I am going to finish the video with one more audio demo, which is sort of like a little piece that I put together using only this interface. But just to conclude, I mean, I'd say it's completely usable, but the sort of claims it makes on the box are simply not true. And while it is okay, it's definitely not an investment piece. I don't think this would last for, you know, 10, 15 years of studio use. I don't think it's designed for that. And I would definitely recommend investing in something of a much higher quality. However, I will be giving this away to someone who needs it because it is perfectly usable and I don't need it in my studio. So if you do need an interface, or you know someone who needs one who might like it as a gift, please enter the giveaway. I've left the information in the description of this video and also in a pinned comment in the comments section. Anyway, I'm just going to conclude the video with a short piece that I put together, all recorded on the Behringer, just to show that it is completely usable, even if it's not the absolute pristine quality they say it is. Thank you very much for watching. Hope to see you in the next one too. Bye for now.